And good evening. Welcome to the York Region District School Board Parent, Family, and Community Engagement Advisory Committee meeting for Thursday, May 14th, 2026. This is a public meeting, and members of the public are welcome to observe the meeting. Although there is not an opportunity at this meeting for members of the public to speak, there is an opportunity to address board members during the public forum portion of the Learning, Equity, and Well-being Standing Committee. The meeting dates and times can be found on the board website, which is www.yrdsb.ca. Before approving the agenda of today's meeting, parent member Luna Guha will now deliver the land acknowledgement. Please go ahead, Luna.
Thank you, Renee. We affirm that we are all treaty people and acknowledge that the York Region District School Board is located on the lands of two treaties. These treaties have been signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the First Nations of the Williams Treaties, who are the Mississaugas of Alderville, Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Scugog Island, and the Chippewas of Beausoleil, Rama, and Georgina Island, who is our closest neighbor and partner in education. To honor this agreement, we will take up our responsibility to be respectful of their traditions, knowledge, and inherent rights as sovereign nations. We will respect their relationship with these lands and recognize that our connection to this land is through the continued relationship with these First Nations, and we acknowledge our shared responsibility to respect and care for the land and waters for future generations. Back to you, Renee.
Thank you, Luna. Now we will move to the approval of the agenda. As a reminder, committee members are asked to place their name into the chat to motion and second a motion. Do we have a motion that agenda being approved as written? Please just put your name in the chat. Luna, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Natalie. And Peter may be next. Anyone not in favor, please state not in favor. Seeing no objections, the motion is carried. The agenda is approved as written. Our next item is declaration of conflict of interest. Any trustee or member of PIAC who has a direct personal interest or direct or indirect pecuniary interest in any matter being discussed during the meeting should now state their conflict and the nature thereof. Okay, thank you. The standing item on our agenda is special announcement. Superintendent of Education, Leadership and Development and Engagement, Grant Forthrop, will speak to the PIAC Regional Symposium, Parent Voice Matters event, and the recent Provincial Parent Involvement Committee, PIC meeting. Please go ahead, Superintendent Forthrop.
Thank you, Chair, and it's my pleasure to bring some good news items as part of special announcements. So first, speaking about our PIAC Regional Symposium, and wanted to highlight the success of our symposium. So it was a tremendous success. We hosted it at Richmond Green Secondary School. So it was our first time in the school, and reviews were great. We had 5 workshops, 14 booths, partners that were out and in the foyer and so forth, and we had over 420 guests. So the turnout was even better than last year. It was quite incredible. So a very big thank you to all those involved in organizing. And I want to be specific here. So a very big thank you to PIAC, the organizing committee, PIAC in its entirety. Thank you for organizing and planning and hosting such a terrific event. A big thank you to our fantastic co-chairs, Vanna and Renee, who did an excellent job of hosting and emceeing that evening. And thank you to our PIAC committee for all your planning and work behind the scenes. It was tremendous. There was lots of work even on the night of, and it was just a big thank you to you all. And specifically, I'd like to thank as well our entire committee here, but also LD&E, Leadership Development and Engagement, for your efforts, and specifically Joe, Hunyan, Kevin, Candace, Penny, Monica, Mary and Tanya for your constant work on this piece. It was quite a tremendous and a very successful event, and looking forward to another great event next year. And already some thoughts, and we take the feedback from such an event, and I'm seeing Kevin on the screen as well too. So we're already conferring and working towards thoughts and ideas for next year. And but big congratulations to everybody. It was a great event. The next piece is it brings me another great pleasure to talk about another good news item, which was our presentation at PIC. So PIAC in YRDSB had an opportunity, got an invitation last year to present at our provincial PIC. That's ministry. Has the parent engagement committees from all over the province meet as form of a provincial PIC, and we had an opportunity to present last night, or maybe I'm getting my days conflated right now. I think I'm seeing Luna nod. It's last night. The days are all coming together a little bit, but it was a great honor to have Luna present on behalf of YRDSB and PIAC here in terms of the work that's been taking place, particularly in the last couple of years. And we had a very successful presentation provincially yesterday. And I just want to highlight a few things. And just the wonderful work that you all do was highlighted so spectacularly by Luna yesterday. And there was great questions and great content that was reviewed. And just to highlight a few things. So Luna in her presentation walked people through about a 20 to 30 minute presentation on what we do in PIAC and YRDSB. So specifically how we run our meetings, the events, how we organize events, how we structure our meetings, the committee involvement, the potential for committee involvement in YRDSB. So she spent some time going through the particulars of that. And folks were particularly interested. Luna did a wonderful job of highlighting what I just discussed at the symposium, but also the school council forums. And so to highlight a couple pieces that there was some awe in the room a little bit, just in terms of the participation numbers, was we spoke about, or Luna spoke about, our school council forums this year, where we garnered over 600 participants from school councils all over York Region, from the 4 CECs, and we have the 5 forum meetings, and they were very impressed at just in terms of our ability to garner that type of support and participation. So that was one real big highlight. The other one was that we had a symposium just recently with over 400 attendees. So great highlights there. And the other piece too that Luna had mentioned was just the interest in PIAC, and that we received a great uptick in our applications last year, upwards in the neighborhood of 100 applications to PIAC, which was another big highlight. So all in all, it was a tremendous reflection of the work that you all do throughout the year. Luna, thank you so much for representing YRDSB and the work of PIAC these last couple of years so well yesterday. It was truly a wonderful presentation. And a big thank you to all you. It really highlighted, and you know, I was so proud. And not only that, but you know, there was many people, and we got comments and emails afterwards that were so impressed at just the level of participation and interest and involvement of all you folks, but how we're able to garner the participation across YRDSB. So I want to turn the mic over to Luna. If I miss, I'm certain I missed stuff, but it was just wonderful. And so and Renee was present as well too. So Renee, please, Luna, if I did miss items, I want to turn it over to you just to see if there's something you can highlight or something I missed.
No, I think you covered it really well, Grant. I think the only thing I would say is, although, and I just typed this in the chat actually, although I was the one presenting, I was really just the spokesperson for the broader effort that everybody that's involved in this committee does on a day in, day out basis, whether you're employees of the board or volunteers who are putting in your time, effort, and passion into this, on top of an already very full plate between work, family, and other responsibilities. And so, yes, it was very well received. There were a lot of requests for us to share the document. And I think the one thing I would just point out is, going into the presentation, I wasn't entirely sure if all of the different PICs across Ontario are structured in a similar way. And I think what I kind of gleaned coming out of yesterday's presentation is that we are doing a few things differently that really piqued people's interest and gave them some food for thought. So I think, again, just a testament to the wonderful work that everyone here does collectively. And so I was the face of it, but it's really all of you.
And Chair, if I may, thank you, Luna. And Chair, if I may,
Thank you.
who was also in attendance yesterday. This was in the works for over a year, probably about a year or so. It's been quite some time that they've been planning to host us, and so it was in the works for quite some time, and just a wonderful opportunity to share what we do in Wired ASB. It was just a tremendous testament to all your work. So thank you, Chair. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you both. And I'm very honored to be co-chairing the first 2 years the symposium since we established. And I'm so happy to witness that the numbers of audience is growing and how much it was they were welcomed. Yeah, and I believe that our next years is getting more prosperous and more welcome, and we will engage more parents, get more intimate relationships between all in our communities. All right. Thank you, Superintendent Fathrop, and thank you, Nona. If there are any more special announcements to share, please place your name in the chat. Now we will now move to approval of the minutes for Thursday, March 26, 2026. Do we have a motion that the minutes for the March 26, 2026 PIAC meeting be approved as written? Please put your name. Motion, Nona, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Need to say will be the seconder. Thank you. Anyone not in favor, please state not in favor. Seeing no objection, the motion is carried. The minutes of March 26, 2026 PIAC committee meeting are approved as written. We will now move on to the presentation for this evening. It is my pleasure to warmly welcome Principal of Student Services, Stephen Hopkins, to introduce the Student Services team, who will be presenting the YDSB transition strategy toward disability justice tonight. Please go ahead when you are ready, Stephen.
Thank you so much, and through you, Chair, we greatly appreciate this opportunity. So as said, I'm Steve Hopkins, Principal of Student Services, and I come to introduce the team on behalf of Coordinating Superintendent Wendy House, who unfortunately sends her regrets. She very much wished to be with us tonight, but does have a previous engagement. With me as well is Stephanie Ellis, who is our Chief of Physical and Occupational Therapy. And we've had the great honor of helping guide this work over the last 4 years as it was developed. With us today, and who you will actually be, you're very fortunate to hear from them rather than myself, are our team of 3 transition navigators. We have with us today, pardon me, sorry, Jenny Kilgore, who is an occupational therapist with the board. We have Elise Patterson, who is an elementary teacher with experience and training within student services or within special education, but also in community classes and general supports throughout the school and homeroom classrooms. And we have Negda Tabrizi, who is a secondary educator, teacher with experience in guidance and special education, as well as a number of other things that she brings to the team. It's a wonderful team with lots of varied skills, and they've been working very diligently over the last year in developing and making the first steps within the transition strategy goals and frameworks, and we're really, really happy to have them with us. I do just want to say before I hand it over to the group that, as I kind of referenced a little bit earlier, it was a 3-year project, putting the transition strategy itself together, and we're very fortunate to have almost 1 year under our belt of the transition strategy being in place. And so today, in addition to presenting the transition strategy, our team will also be talking a little bit to some of those first steps that have been put in place. And we're so excited to come back to PIAC because a couple of years ago we were here looking for information and for some guidance from the wonderful people here to help form the strategy in and of itself. So with all of that having been said, I'm going to pass it over to our wonderful team and look forward to any questions or inquiries that follow. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. It's really great to be here, and thank you for this opportunity to share with you about the WIRE DSB transition strategy toward disability justice. Next slide, please. Ontario school boards have had long-standing obligations to support students with disabilities under the Human Rights Code Duty to Accommodate and the Ministry Policy Memorandums 140 and 156. In 2005, the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, or AODA, set a bold goal for a fully accessible Ontario by 2025. While that commitment has guided accessibility work, there are still no legislated education or healthcare standards under AODA. The K-12 Education Standards Development Committee, chaired by Lynn Zeraldo, produced a comprehensive final report in 2022 identifying 10 major barrier areas and offered over 300 recommendations for an accessible and inclusive education system. This report highlighted that student transitions remain a significant systemic barrier. This report was followed by a second report with 77 targeted recommendations focused specifically on making transitions accessible for students with disabilities. Next slide, please. Thank you. In response, the Ministry of Education provided responsive education funding to school boards to address these barriers. WIRE DSB used this funding to develop this transition strategy. This initiative moves us toward a coherent and system-wide approach that supports how schools plan, collaborate, and remove barriers during transitions from school entry through to school exit. This strategy is rooted in disability rights and justice and uses K-12 Educational Standards Final Recommendations Report as the foundational document to guide this work. The transition strategy was developed through extensive evidence-based research, interdepartmental collaboration, and consultation with 259 internal and external partners. Centering student voice was prioritized. We employed 3 WIRE DSB alumni with lived experience to lead the collection of student voice. They facilitated 15 sessions with 39 current and former students to ensure that the strategy reflects their lived experiences. Next slide, please. Our transition strategy builds on the great work already happening across the board to support students with disabilities and special education needs, as mandated by the Ministry of Education. It's not a separate initiative. It was designed to work in alignment with existing equity strategies and to further our board's multi-year strategic plan. By aligning with board-wide strategies and priorities, we're advancing disability justice in a way that recognizes the whole person. This integrated approach reflects our commitment to intersectionality while recognizing the unique barriers that disabled students experience. It also connects directly to school improvement plans, reinforcing shared goals and supporting a unified path forward. So supporting transitions is everyone's work. There's no individual or department that owns transitions. It's only through intentional collaboration that we can effectively support students. Next slide, please. Thank you. We recognize that language is a very powerful tool for equity and dignity. Following the Say the Word movement, initiated by disability activist Lawrence Carter Long, we're shifting away from terms such as special needs or differently abled toward the word disability. Reclaiming this word helps destigmatize it and fosters a more inclusive and respectful approach. This shift is a direct challenge to ableism, a system of beliefs and practices that devalue and discriminate against people with disabilities. Ableism often shows up as an assumption that disabled people are less capable or in need of fixing. By naming disability clearly, we affirm that it is a valid and valued part of human diversity, not a deficit to be hidden. While we promote disability-affirming language, we always honor individual and community preferences. Whether someone chooses person first, or a person with a disability, or identity first, a disabled person language, our goal is to respect the expertise and preferences of the individuals we serve. This is a vital step towards a system rooted in equity, dignity, and justice. Next slide, please. Thank you. During the consultation process for the transition strategy, input from disabled students, their families and caregivers, as well as national, provincial, and local stakeholders emphasize the need to prioritize and honor the voices, the choices, and agency of students. As a result, the transition strategy emphasizes the need to center and respect student voice, choice, and agency, working in partnership, fostering family and caregiver engagement, and ensuring transparency, keeping students at the center of everything we do. Next slide, please. Thank you. The transition strategy recognizes that disabilities are diverse. They may be visible or invisible, physical or mental health related, temporary or permanent, diagnosed or not. Our strategy is inclusive of all disability experiences. We acknowledge the importance of intersectionality, understanding that students with disabilities may also experience marginalization based on other aspects of their identity, such as race, gender, socioeconomic status, language, or cultural background. These overlapping experiences shape how students access services and navigate transitions. The strategy seeks to ensure transitions are not just accessible, but equitable, student-centered, and affirming, recognizing the full complexity of each student's identity and experience so that no student is left behind. Grounded in disability justice, the strategy promotes student empowerment, dignity and autonomy in decision-making, and meaningful inclusion at every stage of their educational journey. Next slide, please. And I'll pass it to Elise now.
The strategy begins with a vision statement, which outlines our goal to remove barriers and create accessible, inclusive, and equitable transitions for students with disabilities across WIRE-DSB. There are 5 guiding principles that provide a foundational lens to ensure transition practices are grounded in disability justice. The specific actions within the strategy are organized into 4 priority areas that were developed based on an extensive consultation process. Central to the strategy and woven into the priority areas is a commitment to student voice, choice, and agency. The strategy also includes an accountability framework and key performance indicators that have been built out to monitor the implementation and efficacy of the strategy. Next slide, please. Thank you. In the development of the strategy, 5 guiding principles emerged as the core tenets for achieving accessibility, inclusive, and equitable transitions for students with disabilities. They are listed on page 5. Start early, be proactive, and provide ongoing support. Build strong, grounded relationships. Start with knowing the student. Foster a culture of high expectations and honor all pathways. You'll notice that student voice, choice, and agency are not named as their own principle. Rather, they're intentionally and explicitly embedded across all 5 guiding principles. Next slide, please. Thank you. As you see, there are 4 key priority areas on page 6: planning and preparing accessible and inclusive environments, building knowledge and capacity, and collaborative relationships. Next slide, please. Each priority area includes actions that will help achieve the objectives of the transition strategy. The actions are organized by system actions, classroom school actions, and engaging the community. Highlighted on this slide is an example of a system action from the planning and preparing priority area on pages 7 and 8. 1.1, create and maintain a centralized internal WireDSB transition hub with tools and resources to support staff with programming for effective transitions, core skill development, experiential learning, and alternative programming. This action will be ongoing work of the Student Services Department, who will continue to maintain and add resources and information to support educators in the implementation of consistent transitions across a student's educational journey. Next slide, please. Thank you. Through ministry funding, WireDSB hired 3 transition navigators, a role designed to enhance transitions into, through, and beyond school for students with disabilities. This work is rooted in disability justice and focused on the broader system, shifting attitudes to ensure identity-affirming, inclusive practices are embedded board-wide. Our team brings 3 distinct professional lenses to this work: an elementary special education teacher, a secondary special education teacher, and an occupational therapist, each with expertise in supporting students with disabilities and transitions. Some of the work this year has included presenting at the Learning Together Symposium and the Council for Exceptional Children Conference, raising awareness and building system-wide capacity. Designed and delivered professional learning to deepen staff skills in equitable and inclusive transition planning and practices, co-created foundational transition resources, and developed these materials into scalable system-wide tools and resources that have been integrated into practice across the board. Develop new relationships based on WireDSB data with community partners and post-secondary institutions, laying the groundwork for more coordinated student-centered transitions. A key system action and deliverable of the transition strategy is the development of the Transition Resource Hub. Last year, we launched the Internal Transition Hub to provide educators and administrators with evidence-informed tools and resources. Next slide, please. Thanks. Moments Matter, Reimagining Transitions is a professional learning session that was developed specifically to bring the transition strategy to life in practical ways. It serves as one of the primary ways the strategy becomes visible in everyday practice in our schools and classrooms. The goal of this learning is to support our schools with practical, clear, and actionable ways to embed key inclusive practices into small daily routines. By focus on these smaller moments, we acknowledge that transitions are not just major milestones like moving schools. They're also daily intentional interactions that foster a sense of belonging, connection, and well-being for every student. We have been proud to share this learning board-wide, reaching support staff, educators, and consultant groups. Next slide, please. Thank you. Most recently, on April 15th, our Transition Navigator team had the privilege of hosting the Moments Matter workshop at the PIAC Parent Symposium, where over 50 participants joined us to explore how we can collaboratively create transitions that make space for student voice, choice, and agency. We also had the privilege of connecting with many parents, caregivers, and educators at our information table. We shared key resources and engaged in meaningful conversations, hearing stories and experiences, which strengthen how we work alongside one another. Next slide, and I'm going to pass it over to Nagda. Thank you.
Now we'd like to share a few highlights from the first YRDSB and YCDSB Post-Secondary Education Accessibility Fair. This event was held on the evening of Wednesday, March 25th, and was graciously hosted at Sir William Mulock Secondary School. Supported by our research and assessment team, along with many staff members, we welcomed 183 separate registrations and more than 321 total participants, in addition to several walk-in guests. This turnout truly highlights the collective desire for clear and accessible information and the value of creating these community spaces for our families. Next slide, please. Our partners at the Regional Assessment and Resource Center, or RARC, shared insights that center student agency. In the post-secondary world, students lead the way by self-identifying. Our goal is to foster students' proficiency and confidence in navigating these new spaces as they transition toward greater independence. To strengthen this process, we encourage students to connect with accessibility offices as soon as they accept an offer. These offices provide functional solutions through tailored supports that remove barriers to learning. Finally, we have a practical note on financial equity. We suggest all students engage with the OSAP application process. Even if a family does not intend to borrow money, the application is the essential link to provincial grants specifically for students with disabilities. By sharing these links and resources, we aim to empower every student to create a path that honors their strength and supports their long-term success. Next slide, please. Thank you. We are excited to share 2 upcoming virtual drop-in sessions for families. On May 25th and May 26th, we're focusing on post-secondary transition, helping students navigate accessibility services and self-determination for their next steps. Then on June 2nd and June 3rd, our Moment Matters session for primary and junior families will explore reimagining everyday transitions, like busy mornings, through an equity lens. We invite you to join us to share ideas and build collaborative supports for all our learners. Next slide, please. We are now excited to share with you the recently launched Public Transitions Hub specifically for students, families, caregivers, and community members. We invite you to scan this QR code to access the Transitions Hub. The hub can also be found on the www.yrdsb.ca website under the Student Support tab in the Special Education section. As referenced on the screen, this is System Action 1.2 of the Transition Strategy. The public site serves as your one-stop access point to find resources, tools, pathway information, and community supports. By providing direct access to these resources, we are ensuring transparency and empowering students and families to be as active partners in the transition planning process, from school entry through to school exit. Next slide, please. Thank you. The public-facing hub is designed through a lens of accessibility and student agency. The focus here is on empowering students, families, and caregivers. The organization and resources of the hub have been designed to foster student and family engagement, facilitate partnership, ensure transparency, and build essential competencies so that students and families can confidently navigate their transitions. Next slide, please. On the homepage, there is information on transitions and additional links to finding supports, accessing the transition strategy, who to contact for more information and questions, and how to report incidents of discrimination related to disability and ableism. There are 2 ways to access the content: from the student's grade level or educational stage, or by choosing from a list of supports, resources, and information. Next slide, please. Thank you. Each page begins with information outlining what you will find on that page, what families can expect in that grade, a roadmap of key information for the year, a video from educators with specific transition information, and supportive strategies for families to explore. We invite you to explore the Hub and to share this resource with other families. Student Services will continue to maintain and update the Hub with resources and information to support accessible and inclusive transitions for students with disabilities. Next slide, please. Thank you. The successful implementation of the transition strategy, the work of the transition navigators, and the Transition Resource Hub depends on collaborative partnerships between students, families and caregivers, staff, and community. As mentioned before, no one person, department, or profession owns the process or responsibility of transitions. Through use of the Embedded Accountability Framework, the strategy will also help to create a lasting commitment to supporting transitions for students with disabilities and their families and caregivers, working towards disability justice and improving the outcomes for disabled students. Next slide, please. Thank you. On behalf of our team, thank you for welcoming us and for your engagement on behalf of student achievement and well-being. We truly appreciate your time and your commitment to this vital work.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions for the Student Services team at this time? Please place your name in the chat, or you just open your mic. No questions?
Oh, hi, it's Natalia. I have a question, or it's more of a suggestion if they're interested at all. But my daughter is part of the peer mentors group in high school, and I think some of this information would be so great for the peer mentors kind of group in all of the high schools, just to help with those transitions, which is basically what that group does. So if you had any, like marketing materials or pamphlets for the back to school year, it just might be something for you to consider.
Oh, thank you so much, Natalie. We greatly appreciate any and all suggestions. And in fact, we do have an email address, transition.strategy@yrdsb.ca, and we welcome any kind of feedback pieces. If you notice anything that's missing, or great opportunities like that to get the word out, because there's really no point in having these fantastic resources if people don't know that they're there. So absolutely, we do have some postcard size little flyers that we're having printed up. I'm hoping actually as we speak, and we'll be sending those out to schools as well. And this has also been shared with a number of the different subject heads at in the high schools, and has been shared with all of our elementary schools as well. So yes, thank you. We will we'll look specifically at the peers groups as well. I think that's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Okay.
Luna, you have a question, right? Please go ahead.
I do. Yes, thank you. I have a kind of a two-part question. First part is, how much of this approach is a push versus a pull? So what I mean by that is, are you proactively going out to students and families who have been identified as having disabilities, or are you taking more of the approach of, if we build it, they will come, as in kind of spread the word, but wait for them to approach you for the appropriate kind of support? That's part one, and I'll ask part two after.
Okay, no, thank you very much. It's probably a bit of both. I mean, we are hoping that word of mouth, we think that we built out some really excellent resources. And so we are hoping that word of mouth will catch on and help us out in a big way. But if anyone is subscribing to the board social media feeds, you will notice that that there's been a fair bit about different projects and pieces within the transition strategy over the last little while, including the launching of this public hub, which was just last week, and also other pieces around a podcast that's coming forward. Although you probably won't have seen that yet, but I'm projecting now. I'm going to start getting in trouble because I'm letting out secrets. I feel like Tom Holland in the Marvel universe that kept telling people what was coming, even though he wasn't supposed to. yeah, so we do have a lot of we are trying to be out there and really making sure that people know what's going on. And I will say as well, like as an example, with the post-secondary education accessibility fair, the three lovely ladies that you heard from did an unbelievable job of hitting the pavement, going to the schools and handing out flyers and talking to staff at all of the high schools to try to make sure. And it was a great success. There were a lot of people that came to that. So we are trying absolutely to do that as much as we can.
That's great. Thank you. And that's great that you're doing both the push and the pull. And then the second part to my question is, are you finding that people are generally quite forthcoming in terms of identifying that they do have a disability? And the reason I ask that question is because sometimes people are a little bit afraid to identify themselves because of, any sort of perceived stigma and for fear of being treated in a different kind of a way. And sometimes you just kind of have to tell them what the benefits are of them self-identifying for them to actually come forward and say, yes, I am in this group and I require these additional supports. How are you finding people are reacting?
So yeah, I mean, I'll speak for myself to start with, but yes, absolutely. There's a wide range of reactions when given the opportunity, not necessarily asked, because we don't want to force people into those decisions unless they've at least had an opportunity to think about what they want to do beforehand. But I will say as well that it is interesting in our last Every Student Counts survey. There was a lot, there's some really interesting pieces around the cross section of students because being identified through IPRC is different than having or identifying as having a disability. We have a lot of students that would fit, if you have the old Venn diagram, we have a lot of students that would fit in the middle and both self-identify as having a disability and also have had an IPRC or have an IEP. But there are a significant number of students that sit in either of those groups where they have an IEP, but they do not self-identify as having a disability. And groups that do not have an IEP that do identify as having a disability. So it's a very, very much a personal choice. And I think the biggest piece that we want to do, the two parts that we really want to emphasize is we are working on that piece around stigma. We don't want it to be stigmatizing. And to the point of the early slide that talks about say the word, disability is disability. It's a fact. We look at that disability as really naming the barriers that are external to the individual, but the barriers are still there and we have to acknowledge those. And then I have just completely lost my train of thought because there was another piece that I was going to put in there as well, but it will probably come to me later. Sorry.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, sorry, there it is. The penny dropped. The other piece is that we want to really emphasize that it is the individual that owns that choice of whether or not to disclose, how much to disclose, and how they want to phrase it. It is very much the center of the voice, choice, and advocacy of that student that they decide how much and what they share.
Thank you, Stephen. And Luna? Okay. And do we have any other questions? We still get some time. No. Great. Thank you, Principal Stephen Hopkins and the members of the student service team, Jenny, Alice, and Nectar. Hope my pronunciation is not wrong. For presenting the YRDSB transition strategy toward disability justice at PIAC this evening. We appreciate the time, your care, and expertise your team has dedicated to the important work in support of student well-being across our communities. Thank you as well for sharing such a valuable information and for taking the time to answer our questions.
Thank
We
you
will
very
now-
much. Oh, sorry, just to say thank you very much. We greatly appreciate the opportunity. And if anyone thinks of any questions after the fact, please either reach out to our transition strategy email or more than welcome to reach out through PIAC. You know where to find us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we will now move to the next item on our agenda, the report from the board delivered by Trustee Jenny Chen. Please go ahead, Trustee Chen.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, my colleagues, staff, members, and guests. It's my great honor to deliver the PIAC board report today. First of all, notes from April 7th, 2026, a public board meeting. Special announcement. April recognized Sikh Heritage Month. It is a time to recognize the traditions and values that have shaped the Sikh faith over centuries. Director's information report. 90 secondary students from across YRDSB presenting core French and French immersion programs recently participated in the Concours d'Arts Oratoire, a long-standing French public speaking initiative supported by Canadian Parents for French. Following the competition, 23 students qualified to achieve the upcoming Ontario Provincial hosted by CPF. YRDSB Museum and Achieves staff were excited to join the Black History Month celebration event at Middlefield Collegiate Institute and Dr. Dennison Secondary School. The museum provided information to staff, students, and community members on their current research and development on their projects beyond the story of No. 2 Construction Battalion, founded by Veterans Affairs Canada. A wide range of secondary school program, including second-generation courses that allow students to earn a new credit or upgrade a previous completed one, available for secondary students. Programs will be delivered through in-person, remote, and fully online learning models to meet diverse student needs. YRDSB launched World Autism Month on April 2nd in collaboration with Autism Ontario, a community partner and members of the Special Education Advisory Committee. YRDSB is inviting families and community members to participate in the annual budget consolidation progress. And April is National Volunteer Month. YRDSB would like to thank the many selfless individuals who dedicate their time and skills to volunteer in over 180 schools. Their work helps make schools and classrooms safe and supportive places where students and staff can succeed. Student Trustee Report. Student trustees seek opportunities to promote learning and well-being among their peers and remain committed to champion student voice at every level. Notes from April 22nd, 2026 meeting. Trustees received the 2027 International Baccalaureate Feeders Schools report reflecting the addition of 2 new IB diploma programs at IB candidate schools, Emily Carr Secondary School and the Longstaff Secondary School. Admission to an IB diploma program is through an applies progress. I'm not done yet. Notes from May 5th public board meeting. Applause. Grade 11 student Vivian Zhang from Bill Hogger Secondary School earned top honors at multiple levels in French public speaking. She also volunteers teaching French to younger students and supporting children with disability. Special announcement. May is Armenia Heritage Month. May is Asian Heritage Month. May is Dutch Heritage Month. May is Jewish Heritage Month. May is an important month for the people of Poland as well. The notes from Director Information Reports. The Entrepreneurship Education Program is funded by Minister of Education and managed by the Pathway teams to encourage schools to develop initiatives for secondary students to promote entrepreneurship and foster collaboration with community partners and supporters students in the development of specific skills related to planning, funding, starting, and running a business or social enterprise. While the SB students represent the board at the Skills Ontario, a province-wide event that highlights student excellence across skills, trades, and technology focus contests. The recommended 2026 and 2027 school year calendar have received formal approval from the Ministry of Education. From student trustee reports, many students were in Atlantic for the DECA business competition. Student trustee Jason Lin placed third in his category. And student trustee Hayden Lai was mastered the ceremonies at the Celebrating Student Success Award ceremony. That's all. Back to you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Chen, for providing the report from the board. I'm sorry that there was a technical error and we are out of connection for a while. I think Laurie Croft have a question for the student services team, right?
I did. I'm so sorry that I'm having technical issues tonight.
Not your problem. Yeah, I think we still, yeah, please go ahead. Sorry.
I appreciate you coming back to me. So my only question is, and thank you so much for the presentation. It was absolutely wonderful. Is that the students who don't identify with a disability and somehow the school system has not identified them with a disability, can they still get the service? That they are providing out there right now? So I'm talking about the high school students more that are going into the university.
Yeah, through you, Chair. I think I might be able to take that. And Laura, if I can just maybe get just another quick, I heard parts of that. I just missed a bit of it in terms of, and I'll repeat what I heard and see if I got the question accurately here. And because I think our student services team has potentially exited the meeting, and I'm happy to take a piece of this if I can. I was just looking to see if representatives were on, but I don't think they are. But I just want to rephrase the question just to make sure if I've got it correct. So you're asking if people aren't formally identified with a disability, are they still able to access services from our secondary school or university if it's not identified? Is that accurate, or both in high school and in university or post-secondary?
Yes, I was more, yes, that is accurate. And I'm sorry if it's on my end. I was more referring to the high school students entering university where they're struggling and they're starting to self-identify, whether, you know, the school system just kind of, there's so many students as we know, right? And so some of them are just more silent than other and don't have the help that they have at home. So as they're going through university and they're picking up a pamphlet and they're saying, wait a second, I could be identified as a disability because of, you know, I know in my head, this is what's going through. Can they still access it?
Yeah.
Or do they have to be identified as with an IEP?
Yeah, thank you. So I can speak to elements of that. And so in terms of high school, I can't speak for post-secondary institutions, although I have worked in guidance before, and I do have some familiarity, but the criteria changes depending on the institution and what services they offer and what requirements they have. But I can give you some general information on that. But I can speak more specifically to a secondary and elementary school, but secondary school in this instance. So I was principal of a secondary school too. So we have what's called, so you can have a formal identification in terms of a learning exceptionality. And I'll use the words as learning exceptionality means you learn differently, right? And it can be formally identified, and that's done through what we call psychoeducational testing. And but we also have, which is it's used quite prominently, and there's different. I can talk about some aspects of that, but is that people can have what's called an informal IEP. So they don't have a formal designation, but they have some learning needs for a variety of reasons, and they would benefit from certain resources, and that's done in consultation with the family and in consultation with the student services, or I'll say special education department, guidance, and so forth at the school. Where students can get access to resources, support without a formal identification. But how we're really trying to frame this, and it was discussed as part of the transition strategy discussion, is that all students have unique aspects of learning, right? We all learn differently, every single one of us. And as a system, we're really prioritizing getting to know our learners, what their needs are, and so that we can meet their needs with the supports and the resources and the staff that we have. And so we're really emphasizing that over the last few years. So we're coming from an era where, let's say, a label was needed or an identification strictly was prioritized in order to get supports there. We're recognizing now more than ever that everybody's got unique learning needs, and we're do our very best as a system to ensure that those are identified in consultation with folks, parents, the students, the staff, and working to get those supports there. So that's for like a WIRE DSB school, or I would say public education schools. So that's really the lens and the framework that we're using right now. But as you go to secondary school, there is different criteria that they can require. There's a student services department there that would require potentially certain documentation in order to get certain supports. It's all dependent on what supports are required and what levels of resources are needed. And I think that would have to be navigated specifically with these institutions. And I can only speak to the ones that I've been familiar with up close, but I've heard and know to some degree that it varies quite significantly. So I hope that, and if I missed something there, please indicate. And what I do recommend again to folks is it can be quite, I don't want to say cost prohibitive, but expensive as supports or testing, and if is needed at older ages in terms of outside the school system. And so there's lots of private testing that goes on, but that can be quite significant in cost and quite a journey. And so there's an opportunity throughout the public schooling system to have those psychoeducational tests and supports and student services involved to assess the needs of your child or children. And so I recommend, I think in almost every instance, that people utilize the supports that are available in the public school system before they get to where it's strictly costs involved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grant, for answering Laurie's question on behalf of the TV. I didn't realize they exist.
Sorry to take so much time, Chair, and I'm happy to also answer in our department too if people want to reach out. Student Services is a great department to seek those answers and support from as well.
True.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Laurie, for the question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. And Principal Kevin Kao, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Please deliver your the staff report.
Thank you, Chair Renee. My apologies, I might cough, so it's as the spring cold goes around. I am just mindful of that, so if you see me flip the mic up, it's because I'm about to cough. With the staff report, what I love about hearing with the board report and the staff report is you can see how much is going on at this time of year. It is such a busy time of year, and so many kids are engaged in so many things across our system, from kindergarten right through to grade 12. So in terms of student achievement, highlighting a few things for you that's going on. And really, when you look at the board website and you look at all the things going on, or talk to your own kids, you'll hear some of these things along the way. So there was funding available to schools this spring to support student-designed and student voice-centered engagement initiatives meant to promote achievement, inclusion, and belonging across the schools. Here's a way we can help to try to get some of these kids into these programs where schools perhaps didn't have the funding. And then when we look ahead, as you look at post-secondary, Future Forward, Explore Your Future, secondary student conferences. We're trying to get kids to figure out what that next step after grade 12 is going to be in their lives. And for some of them, we know that might be a workplace. Some of them it might be college. Some of them might be university. Lots of different opportunities. And I've had, like I said before, I've got 3 kids that have come through and they all ended up going off to university. But there was a while where we were kind of trying to think of where do they want to go next. So those conferences are really important. So if you see them come up for your kids, take a look at them, see what else is going on. Now, we did have something called DARE, Differentiated Access Robotics Expo, and that's for grade 11 and 12 students, a regional pathways conference to focus on post-secondary planning and future readiness. The second annual DARE event brought students across from the region to engage in these STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics experiences that support achievement for students with diverse learning needs. So we are trying to make sure we can get these experiences for all students. Next slide, please. When we move on to the health and well-being aspect of our board, there have been many, and we had a little bit of it at the PX symposium as well. We were looking at how do we help support our young people, your children, in the mental health concerns and well-being concerns that we have going around our region. We would like to see student leadership. And so in this work, student-focused leadership and engagement opportunities, because they are our next leaders. We can give it to them now through the conferences, through their experience in the work, their councils. We want to continue to promote belonging and confidence and those positive relationships that are so important, because that is a part of this overall student well-being. We're not trying to silo. We want them to come together. And then in terms of human rights and inclusive education, to highlight a few things for you. Building Connections, Korean-Canadian Student Leadership Initiative happened on April the 16th, a regional student leadership event in April to help in terms of identity-affirming leadership development and community connection for those of Korean heritage. April the 13th, we saw Holocaust education and remembrance programs, and secondary students participated in this learning connected to Holocaust Education Week to deepen the understanding of human rights, the remembrance, and anti-Semitism. And March 31st was the Trans Day of Visibility, a board-wide celebration to affirm to the 2S LGBTQIA plus identities and inclusion, a community celebration to including our students, the families, the staff, and their allies to honor this day. Next slide, please. And the slide that I usually forget, but I did remember today, is a remembrance to go take a look at the multi-faith calendar if you're curious as to what are the other celebrations up there. And I highlight these for you because these are the ones that finish off our school year. Shavuot in Judaism is May 22nd, 23rd. Eid for Islam is May 27th. National Indigenous Peoples Day is June 21st. And Ashura for Islam is June 25th. So take a moment, go to the multi-faith calendar. There is a specific Wired DSB one that's been highlighted for us, but that multi-faith calendar will show you all the different celebrations and remembrances that go on across the entire world. So I pass it back to you, Chair Renee.
Thank you, Kevin. I hope you recover from your spring cough soon. And I'm glad that you don't have very heavy task today. Well, I would like to invite our Social Manager, Leadership Development and Engagement, Han So, to provide an update on the PIAC Member Selection Subcommittee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our Member Selection Subcommittee, we want to share that the new member application process opened today. On the next slide, you can see the 6 openings that are available for the 2026 to 2028 term. So any parents, guardians, or community members who are interested, they have until June 10 to submit an online application, which is actually a Google form, to express their interest in the opening that they're eligible for. The application process is being communicated both internally as well as externally through our corporate communications team. Thank you, Luna. Now, the slide before you'll see that we're starting at the first marker, which is May, June, applications open. And once they close after June 10, our selection subcommittee members, which includes our PIAC members, Amanda Mora, Luna Guha, co-chair Renee Feng. We also will have trustee Jenny Chen and our PIAC principals, Kevin Cole, Cheryl Gray, Catherine Goosis, Josephine Scavuzzo, along with our leadership development elementary principals, Penny Lam, and secondary principal, Candace Mott. They will begin their selection work. We can expect final selection to happen most likely late August to September. And our selected candidates will be notified once we receive board approval in October. Then we move on to orientate our new members in November, and our new members will join us for their first PIAC meeting on December 3rd, 2026. So thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to provide this update. I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Han. I believe you have another bit of PIAC tonight, but you have covered it, right?
Not yet. I do have another update.
Please go ahead.
Yes,
Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to bring a second update. So PIAC has been invited to present some budget recommendations at the upcoming May 25th Finance and Property Standing Committee meeting. So if you go on to the next slide, you will see that on April 30th, our PIAC members did receive a budget survey to complete, and we were hoping to complete that by May 7th. So thank you to those who provided input. We collated your responses into a budget report and slide deck, which we submitted to our finance team today, May 14. And on May 25th, our PIAC co-chairs, Renee Feng, as well as Venna Cardan, will present PIAC's recommendations to the committee. And that is all I have, Madam Chair. Back to you.
Thank you, Han. Both co-chair Venna Cardan and I are happy to be representing PIAC at the Finance and Property Standing Committee meeting on May 25th. Now, parent member Amanda Mora will provide us with the promising practice for this evening. Please go ahead, Amanda.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Before I start, I should say, unfortunately, I was not able to log in on my computer. As a presenter, it doesn't allow me to log in on the web, and then my app isn't working. So anyway, I'm doing this from my phone, so please bear with me. If you see me look to the right, I'm reading my notes that are on my computer. Okay, if we could start the PowerPoint. Wonderful. Okay, great. So hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to share a promising practice about my children's school, Forest Run Public School. We're an elementary school located in CEC West in Vaughan. I was originally supposed to present at our meeting in March, but unfortunately I had to work. So thank you to fellow PIAC member Lori for kindly switching with me. But I bring this up is because, or why I bring this up is because I believe the timing was very meant to be. Last week on May 6th and 7th, Forest Run presented our school-wide musical, Wicked. So today, a week later, I'm so proud to be able to share with you what an amazing experience it truly was, and I feel more people need to know about it. So myself, having a personal background in the arts, musical theater being my favorite and forte. Actually, my undergrad degree, my first one was in music, vocal performance. So all of this to say I was extra invested in this event, and I volunteered and taught the students the music for the production. I regularly went about 2 days a week, and then every day the last couple of weeks prior to the show. It was an honor to help and be a part of this production and really see all that went into it firsthand behind the scenes. So in an effort to promote learning through the arts and to build a strong sense of community and belonging, the vision for a school-wide musical began. Now, I'm sure many of you may be familiar with Wicked, now especially due to the really popular newer movie versions. But after a lot of deliberation, the school team decided on this production as a way to highlight a few of the beautiful themes and messages in this story. So for example, one theme being friendship and acceptance, the story focuses on how two very different people, the misunderstood, outcasted, green-skinned Elphaba and the popular, bubbly Glinda, become best friends, emphasizing that true friendship goes beyond appearances and it shows the value of kindness as well. Another theme being standing up for what you believe in. Elphaba displays courage by questioning unjust rules and standing up against bullying and discrimination, and often at a personal cost. The third theme, bullying and peer pressure. The play addresses the negative impact of teasing and how characters handle social exclusion. And lastly, the theme of identity and being different. Elphaba's journey is a metaphor for navigating self-doubt and being an outcast, encouraging kids to accept themselves and others. So with that said, let me introduce you to Forest Run Public Schools version of Wicked Junior. And we're already on slide 2, so you can stay here just a moment. As I said on the slide, every student who chose to audition or participate played an important role. Students who may not excel in sports or in traditional core subject areas had the chance to be a part of the musical, either on stage or off. From the cast, primary ensemble, backstage crew, stage crew and runners, tech crew, art crew, and so on, all students wanting to be involved had the opportunity. And more than ever, we truly saw everyone come together and shine. Now, to truly set the tone for the excellence of the performers and the caliber of the production, if we can turn to slide 3, please, and play the video. So before it starts, unfortunately for privacy reasons, we were unable to embed the blurred video into the slide deck in a way that still allowed us to see it live. However, Kevin so kindly assisted and was able to do it in a way where you'll see the still image, but the audio will still play. So you can go ahead and play that. Okay, beautiful, isn't it? Our Glinda has such a beautiful voice, and I saw someone say a beautiful soprano voice. So true. She can hit those high notes so well. So we have such incredible talent at Forest Run. You can turn to the next slide, please. So it's worth noting that we did put on our first musical last year, The Lion King, and it was also incredible. However, what makes this year's musical different is the school-wide involvement and inclusivity aspect. So the first being our teachers and staff who made this possible. The teachers, staff, and volunteers that had a vision and passion, executed it, and made all this possible for our students. If it wasn't for the teachers and the countless hours of unpaid volunteer work, this opportunity and experience for our students and children never would have happened. And I couldn't be more thankful for them. I know for one, my children will remember it forever. They literally practiced with the students for over 6 months, starting auditions and rehearsals last December and January. And the time and love they invested into this show for our students is truly immeasurable. Next, the school utilized Matthew Testament Jones. So he's the co-founder of PEACE, which stands for People Everywhere Actually Coexisting Equally. And Matthew worked with the grade 7 and 8 students and the musical team to transform important themes in the musical into spoken word. So the intention was to teach students about this art and literary form and have the option to perform the spoken word piece they co-created. Matthew has worked with Forest Run Public School in the past, as well as other YRDSB schools. So as you can see in the bottom 2 photos on the slide here, Matthew opened up the production along with our principal and introduced the spoken word performance, which was pre-recorded and played. It was awesome. Next, as a way to involve all students in K through 6 in the musical, all were invited to join in the finale song. So you can see some of them wearing the green Wicked t-shirts in the top right picture, standing with the cast. And students practiced the song in class and heard it over the PA daily to further build community and excitement for the show. The students in the top left picture on the screen wearing yellow were the kinder students who were pre-recorded and shown on the first night. So these K students will be performing the finale song Somewhere Over the Rainbow at their Celebration of Learning concert on June 20th also. There was also the primary ensemble, so grades 1 through 3, that would come out for certain ensemble songs and to perform as well. And then also each division was given a Wicked Junior t-shirt as a keepsake and as a way to connect them to the school-wide initiative. You can turn to the next slide, please. Okay, so on this slide, as an additional component of the school-wide initiative, each class was provided with a set of yellow bricks, 1 per student. So each student then contributed to our Yellow Brick Road display by completing the following. So the community class in K through grade 3 were all invited to design their own brick using a positive and inclusive word or drawing. And then grades 4 through 8, they created messages of inclusion on their brick. So this could have been in the form of a short poem, a drawing, or a meaningful quote. Through this initiative, every student was represented in the Yellow Brick Road and in turn contributed to the production and artwork. The drawings and words from students were so meaningful and connected to the show. And you can see some of those bricks in the pictures here. And they were hung throughout the school to literally create a yellow brick road and also in front of the stage. Okay, so the next slide. In this slide, I just want to highlight the set. So it was truly incredible and a great testament of what you can do when all different people come together and bring their unique talents and skills. So one of our kindergarten teachers' husbands made the background sets. So you can see them in the top row of pictures. I tried to show all 4 different sides of the sets. So they were stunning and professional. I mean, he literally is a professional. His company is called Designs by Q. And then side note, the top 2 pictures on the left without the faces blurred are 2 of my children who were also in the show. We have their consent to show their faces today, so I thought I would. On the row below, the below row of pictures here, you can see just some of the many, many outstanding props that were made. And the pictures don't even do them justice. You can see the handmade train the students are wearing, the house from Wizard of Oz that a student wore so it could blow away as he walked down the aisle with the legs and the sparkly ruby slippers coming out of the house once he sat down. Both performances, it was such a hit with the crowd. And it's one of our teachers, Mrs. Moore, who made both of these things and many, many more. She literally spent hours hot gluing things and designing them. It was truly incredible. So you can see in the bottom 2 right photos, the signs of the witches. The photos also don't do them justice because they were huge, but these were professional foam board posters and they have the actual real students' actors' face on them. This was also printed by one of the teachers' husbands as well. So very, very cool. Also, the school, along with the help from funds donated by our school council, rented professional audio and lighting. Once again, Mrs. Moore's husband, the he's an audio professional, helped with this aspect. And then students from the school's tech team were given the opportunity to help run the sound and lighting. For example, the actors even wore professional small headset microphones, so everyone was able to hear each actor clearly. It was truly really just done so professionally and impressively. Okay, to the next slide. The costumes. Oh my goodness, the costumes. So the same teacher, Mrs. Moore, who made many of the props, also made many of the costumes along with her mother and then another incredible parent volunteer. All three of them put in countless hours making these unique costumes for every actor, and not just the leads, but even every member in the ensemble. You can see in the picture of my son in the bottom there, and my daughter's face is unblurred in the bottom two pictures there, all of the details. So every student was treated with such attention and made to feel so special. So you can see the guards at the top and the monkeys, their costumes, and they also had actors act as trees, and they had these crowns with birds in them and nests. It was like truly so cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get a close-up picture of it, but not to mention the makeup as well, like our green Elphabas was pretty impressive. So lastly, on the next slide, the details. So from the tickets to the programs and so on. It was a free event, but tickets were needed to limit guests to adhere to fire safety regulations in the gym. School council sold flowers and snacks and water at intermission. And then there were, you can see in one of the pictures there too, there were even actors' pictures and bio displays. Our grade 8 sold custom made Wicked stickers. And then school council donated a large sum of funds to go towards the costs of the musical. And we were so proud to provide this donation as it truly supported all schools or all students school-wide. So you can turn to the next slide, slide 9. In conclusion, more than anything, I want to recognize our students who were a part of the show in all aspects, and especially the cast who rehearsed every school day for the last 6 months, regularly giving up their morning and afternoon recesses, and in the last month doing after-school rehearsals too. They learned countless lines, lyrics, songs, blocking, choreography. Their commitment and dedication to excellence was truly inspiring and will benefit them so much as they continue to grow and pursue more activities, especially the arts. So to quote our principal, Miss Frank, when asked about the musical, she said, "One point that I hold dear to my heart is that some students who may not be seen, despite educators and others' best efforts every day, really had a chance to be celebrated in a different way." And I think that she and the team truly accomplished this beautiful mission. So now to conclude my presentation, you can turn to the last slide, slide 10. And please enjoy the audio. So it's the same situation. The audio will play over the still images, but there's 2 videos here. So we'll start with the one on the left, but the one on the left is my son, who played the character of Dr. Dillamond, and he's performing in one of his scenes with Elphaba. And then the next one will be Glinda and Elphaba with the ensemble.
Dreadful things.
Dr. Dillman, are you all right? Shall I fetch you a glass of water?
No, I don't know what came over me.
So you're saying that there were animals that somehow forgotten how to speak?
And then we'll do just the last video to conclude.
There's a strange celebration in such total anticipation. It's so pure and so strong. It came on fast. Still they believe that it can last. And loving, loving, loving you, my whole life. Come on.
Okay, so thank you so much to everyone for listening and sharing in our celebration of a successful and inclusive production at Forest Run, a very promising practice. We are so proud of our staff and students at Forest Run Public School. Thank you.
Impressive and incredible, Amanda. This is a great contribution, and I will read some of the comments for you. Here, Luna said, it's great to share your talent with the kids. Vanna said, so cute. And Lindsay Ding says, it's great to share amazing work. And Han Ying said, it's very affirming. And Kevin said, such a success. Incredible, and congratulations. You must be proud of Amanda, right? For me, I think its artist works and performances are so exciting and traditional, and which brings students and parents from different cultures together with the same passion, right? It's really helped to relieve pressure, and it's a real experiential and immersive learning for the students. Amanda, well done.
Thank you. I totally agree. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words.
Yeah, you deserve it. Please, before closing our meeting today, please note that there are policies out for comment. The link to these policies can be found in the agenda previously shared. I encourage all PIAC members to take the time to review the policies out for comment and share feedback. Please just take a couple of minutes to read. Okay. Yeah, we're just in time. This concludes our meeting for this evening and a PIAC meeting for the 2025 to 2026 school year. Thank you to our presenters for sharing your time, expertise, and valuable insights with us tonight. I would also like to thank all members of the leadership team and parents for being with us and for your continued engagement and support. As we wrap up the school year and look ahead to summer, I wish you and your families all the best of a safe, restful, and enjoyable break. I look forward to seeing PIAC parent members again at our first meeting of the new school year, scheduled for Thursday, October 8th, 2026. Before saying goodbye, has anyone trying to say something, Ron?
Yeah. Hi, good evening, everyone. So, as many of you may already know, today is my last meeting with the committee. My family and we are moving to the Halton Region School Board. So, unfortunately, I will not be able to continue. So, I truly appreciate being part of this parent engagement community and working alongside all of you. So, I'm going to resign. So, I don't know. Madam, should I submit my resign to chair or someone else? And thank you once again for all your support and collaboration. Thank you very much and enjoy your summer.
And I would like to say thank you, appreciate our Madam Chair, Renee, because she, I think next year her kids will graduate, right? So this is the last meeting. I do appreciate all the members and especially to our beautiful Madam Chair. You deserve the applause.
Thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Trustee Chen.
And through you, Chair, as well. I know we're closing out, but Huma, thank you so much for your work and support and your involvement with PIAC and LD&E, specifically myself and Joe Richardson can assist you in walking you through the next steps. And please reach out to our office through email or through a phone call, and we're happy to assist and support. But thank you so much again for all your work.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Have a nice
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you, Huma, as well. Thank you for telling us and participating this evening. And we wish you all the best. Just yeah, great move.
Have you
Thank you.
wonderful summer. Enjoy the summer.
Yeah, enjoy the summer.
Lots of plan for summer.
Okay, I think it's time to say bye. Let's keep in contact. And I truly also I need to thank you, Joan, very so much. You got very supportive, and I appreciate all the support and the help you did for me. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye. Have a good
Good night.
night.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.